Welcome to Have a Chat. We are so pleased that you've joined us today. My name is Judy Loge, and I am your host for today's segment. And we are so proud to have with us from the Miramichi Fire Department, Chief Dennis Cole. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you.
So, I have not met you until today.
Absolutely.
And I know many people in the Miramichi do know you, but for those who don't, tell us a little bit about yourself personally.
Yep. So originally I'm from Newfoundland. Grew up in Gander, Newfoundland. And yeah, I spent majority of my life there. And then, so that's where I'm from. It's funny when I meet people, they're like, okay, what part of Newfoundland are you from, right? It sort of comes out in the accent too. So.
I don't find any accent, right? But I do love Newfoundland.
Yeah.
So the next question has to be, what drew you to our beautiful Miramichi area?
Yeah, so originally, like I said, I was from Newfoundland, from Gander. Then I made a venture out west, out to Alberta. So I spent a little over 18 years in Alberta and worked in the fire service in Alberta. And where I was to recently was in Lacombe, Alberta, which is about 10 minutes north of Red Deer, central Alberta.
Oh, yes.
And the position came up here. Somebody reached out to me and mentioned it and started looking into it. And it's like, yeah, it's closer to home. I've been, like I said, almost 20 years away from family.
Yeah.
So it was a nice opportunity to get back closer to home. Now, if I want to go to Newfoundland, I can drive instead of flying through. And yeah,
it's a real good thing. Real good move you made.
Yeah. And I have a brother actually that lives in Moncton.
Oh.
So it's the first time I've been around family, like I said, in 20
very,
years.
Very
so,
nice.
Yeah,
and you enjoy so far the Miramichi area?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, getting back to your position, what has been one of the most memorable situations or occasions that you've experienced in the last year as fire chief?
I would say here with Miramichi Fire Department, just getting to know the people, the members, the community as well, seeing who we have here, the equipment, getting to know council and administration as well. I would say one of the most memorable moments that I have in the past 6 months, because I've been here since pretty much beginning of July.
Yes.
Here recently, Fire Prevention Week, we did an open house here at Station 1, and the turnout that we had was phenomenal. Hearing the history from the guys here on the floor, that what they've seen that day as opposed to what was done before was astounding with the numbers on the turnout that we had. So it's really good to see that. Good to see the community come out and actually see their station and their equipment and meet the firefighters that are here as well.
So Chief Cole, how many coverage areas would the Miramichi Fire Department be responsible for, first of all?
Yeah, so we not only look after just the city of Miramichi, we cover an area of about 180 square kilometers, so majority of North Cumberland County and all points north, south, east, and west in that area. So we do expand outside the city quite a bit. Yeah.
I guess you do.
Yes.
How many regular staff members would the fire department include?
Yeah, so right now we have 22 full-time members on staff, plus we have an additional fire prevention staff, 2 members there,
Yes.
and well, myself, and we have a full-time deputy fire chief, Deputy Berthume, and we have a full-time administrative assistant.
So 27.
Yep.
That's quite the staff. I'm
Yeah.
impressed. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that there are 22 full-time members.
Yeah.
Let's talk about volunteers for a minute. I know how important that is, like as I do it myself on a regular basis, but within the fire department, it's so crucial.
Yeah.
Would you say you have enough volunteer members, or how many are you at? Do you
Well,
have a
right now
number?
we're sitting at approximately about 20 to 24 volunteer members.
Good.
More is always better.
Yes.
Right, because people are busy, life happens and that.
Yeah.
And there's always people coming and going that, right, as people's lives change and that. So we're always looking for members, as we mentioned earlier. But yeah, we're sitting at about 24 volunteers right now. Yeah.
So as we know, a different call can come in one here, one there at the same time, and you're all over the place. So how many trucks are we looking at that you are in possession of with the department?
So right now the city of Miramichi has 9 heavy firefighting apparatus located between 3 stations.
Yes.
And plus we also have an array of support vehicles. We have 2 boats as well. We have 1 boat that we share with Miramichi Police Force. And we have another one that's located here at Station 1 as well. We have off-road ATV for doing rescuing that in off-road areas. And we have some other support vehicles that we use as well.
I'm just curious because I've lived here my whole life and I see a lot of things you don't want to see as far as like scenes go where there's a crash or something, or it could be just something a little bit more minor. So what are some of the calls that everybody shows up at aside from highway crashes? So sometimes you'll see someone in the driveway, and you know it's a situation that's not a good one. You'll see an ambulance, you'll see a fire truck, you'll see a police car, you'll see. When do you all have to come together? Do they call for you for situations all the time? Or?
So it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
If we do support EMS, we do support police as well.
Yes.
Right. All three agencies work very well here in the city together to support each other. So if anybody needs support, if we need support from either EMS or police as well, they come and help us.
Just
as
a
well.
phone call away. Everybody
Absolutely.
can come,
Yeah.
and that there's that many more bodies helping out those that are in distress.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great relationship with the other agencies, so we're all here to support each other.
So, Chief Cole, how many fire stations are we looking at within the city?
So the city of Miramichi currently has 3 fire stations. This one that we're standing in here right now is station number 1, and we have station number 2, which is located over in the old Chatham Air Force Base. And we have station number 3, which is located in Logieville, which houses an apparatus as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you share with us a funny or unexpected incident that may have occurred in your tenure?
So I've been in the fire service now for a little over 28 years. I've seen lots of stuff, lots of good, lots of bad, lots of funny. And everybody say that when it comes to the firemen, if you want to rescue a cat in a tree, I've done that twice in my career as a firefighter. So we predominantly don't do it, but there is times that, twice I've had to rescue cats one was out of a tree, one was on top of a building.
And I'm a lover of all animals,
Yeah.
so I'd be right
Yeah.
there behind you
Right.
saying, get this cat out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
As you reflect on the past year, Chief Cole, what accomplishment are you most proud of as the chief?
Yeah, so I would say over the past, since I've been here with the fire department, definitely our Fire Prevention Week turnout. Our members actually hit every school in the region and talked to a lot of kids. So it was great to see that, great to see the department come together and work as a team to get the fire prevention message out. And just the camaraderie amongst our firefighters and our officers and our administration here with the department, it's been great to see.
Very satisfying.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
When you're reaching the kids, like they're going to grow up to know all of the safety
Yep,
rules
absolutely,
and
yep.
procedures to follow should there be evacuations, that type of
Yep,
thing.
absolutely. One thing I've always said about when it comes to getting messages to the kids, if you want a message to get home, tell the kids, they will take it home.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They're little sponges.
Yes, yeah.
So if you had one word to describe the past year, let's say, what would that be, Chief Cole?
I would say for the Miramichi Fire Department, it would be family. Right, that's one thing I've really liked about the fire department here and the community as a whole. Right, that's one thing I like about the community is that it reminds me of small town Newfoundland in Gander. But definitely with the fire department, we are one big family here, and it's been great getting to know everybody and their families as well.
I can tell you're really adjusted, and I do love Newfoundland myself.
Yeah.
If you could give us, the viewers, one, let's just say, heartwarming success story that has happened within the last number of months or the past year that involved your team, what would you like to say about that?
I would say the participation in our team. From what I've understood from prior to my arrival is that participation was not substantial, but since my arrival and bringing the morale and the of the department back up. Right now we have record numbers of members turning out to incidents, training nights, and even social events, fire prevention activities, right? So it's really nice to see that the members are coming together as one big family and one big team and getting the job done.
I agree. From experience, morale is so key
Absolutely.
to making things function in a very positive manner, and it's happening, so that's great.
Absolutely.
Could you recall maybe an unusual or funny incident that you could give us on a light note that has happened within your department?
So I would say one incident that comes to mind is working around a river is new for me. I know like in Newfoundland there's the ocean but working around the river here, so this summer we had a call for a boater in distress that was on the river.
Oh.
And our guys went out and in one of our boats to rescue the people that were in the river. They were in a capsized sailboat. And the conversation that was happening between the husband and wife while they were underwater was quite interesting. Yes, to the point that our guys brought her back to shore, and she got in her truck and left, and it was,
It was like made for a movie kind of scene.
Yeah. She wanted an ATV, he wanted a sailboat.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That
So
would be
it
funny.
It was quite interesting, but yeah, at the end of the day, we got both of them back to shore. and
That's
they
the
were all
main
good.
thing.
Yep. Yeah.
So what would you say has been one of the biggest challenges for you as a chief and overall working with your team? Like we all have our good days, bad days, and try to achieve what's best for our overall workplace. But what has there been a greater challenge or one personal challenge?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I've faced so far is building the relationship between the department and administration and council as well. One thing I will say is that we have a very supportive council, and I'm very appreciative of that. But just building the relationship between the members, the department, and that entity of the city, it's been challenging, but it's been good. Tremendous support from both sides, administration and council, and yeah, like I'm looking forward to it, and the members are actually looking forward to moving forward and.
That makes me feel good.
Yep.
Positive collaboration.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Share a behind the scene moment, if you could, Chief Cole, just from the past year that the public would not necessarily ever get a chance to see.
Yep. So weekly we conduct regular training nights throughout the year, and just getting back into doing the regular training nights, bringing all the members together. We do some serious training. Our business is very serious at times, but we also like to have a little bit of fun, right? So even this past week, we were out practicing some water rescue skills. So just seeing the guys out floating in the river, and yeah, it was probably a little bit chilly, but yeah, guys had fun, but we also honed up on some skills that we needed to get prepared for the winter season that coming.
I think they're very blessed to have you at the helm. It seems to me that you're all about bringing people together and really doing a good job. I commend you on that. What was the most innovative, would you say, or creative initiative that the fire department took on in this last year?
I would say that the fire prevention week activities, right?
Okay.
The department here has always been involved in the schools heavily.
Yes.
But doing, bringing my own history and own experience to the department to conduct and hold this open house that we had here at Station 1 was a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Another thing we did too during our open house is Miramichi was proud to receive a new fire engine this year.
Lovely.
So we retired one out of the service, and during the open house we actually pushed in the new engine, one of the engines here that's behind us.
That's beautiful. I'm eyeballing that behind you.
Yeah, so it was nice to see the guys come together and work as a team, and yeah, we pushed the truck into service.
So proud. And I want to shout out to my father, who was a fire department member of the Chatham Fire Department for 35 years. He'll be watching you, Chief.
Cool.
And he'll be wishing that he was here with us today.
I'm sure I'll meet him, yeah.
Yes, of course. Looking towards the future, what is your vision for the fire department? Do you have any, are you outlooking something for the future this year?
Yeah, so my vision is to build the department in numbers, to gain more members, and work towards building up a bigger family to help serve the community. One thing about the community here is it is growing. There's a lot of new residents to the community coming, myself included, and just working towards building our department and moving into some new technology that's happening in the fire service these days.
Yeah.
And just working on the relationships. And
So should anyone want to follow in this career, they can either drop in and see you or bring in a resume. So any of our listeners today that might be wanting to become a member of the fire department, they're listening.
Absolutely.
So it's absolutely needed and desired at this point.
So one thing I will say is that if somebody knows of a member of the fire department that is on here, reach out to them, talk to them. They are our biggest advocates, and by all means, if you want, drop by either one of the stations, Station 1 or Station 2. And we're more than willing to bring people on.
Awesome. Now, can you share a sneak peek of any exciting projects or developments that the fire department has in the pipeline?
Yep. So one thing we are working on for 2024 is revamping our recruit training program. So what's been happening in the previous, and it's not just specific to this department, it's pretty much across the country, is that it's been piece by piece with training, right? So one thing I've done is I've developed through my previous work experiences is we've done a modified training program that we will put you through the training in about 4.5 months, and when you're done you will come out with an international accreditation certificate that is recognized worldwide. And if you go to like any post-secondary institution, it will cost you in the range of about $15,000 to get this.
Okay.
So we're going to start implementing this new training program, put all our members through it, and plus bringing on new members that they will get this training done. So it's being watched heavily by the province, by the Office of the Fire Marshal, because it's something that they wanted to introduce.
Yes.
But so they're going to be monitoring us over the next year to see how it goes, and I'm excited for it. The members here are excited for it. I know it will work because I've done it before and I've proven that it will work. So it's just one of those things that just bringing from past experience and that to help better the actual department and the actual city.
Now, there is a program at the MBCC Miramichi,
Yep.
isn't there? So
Yes,
can
there
you
is.
just touch on that?
Yep.
I think that's fantastic
Yep.
that we have it right in our own city.
It is awesome that we have that here. The facility, their instructors, we do help out with their instructors as well.
Yes.
We have had members that are on at the full-time side of it now with the department that came through that program. We support their on-the-job training program every year. So this year we had 3 OJT students on shift with our full-time members. And so it's been great to see that. Plus having the relationship with MBCC here, being able to access their facility.
Yeah.
It's
Win-win.
It's a top-notch facility, and it's great that we can be able to go there in the evenings and do some training as well.
I think it's excellent. So
Absolutely.
I wanted to get that in for sure.
Yep.
Now, if you could be granted one wish for the Miramichi Fire Department, Chief Cole, what would that be?
It's a big question.
But it's like there's so much that you want to see happen. But
Yep.
if you could just think about one.
I would say continue to strengthen the relationship between the department, between council, administration, and amongst ourselves as well. That is my priority.
Really tight unit.
Absolutely. Yep.
Everyone on the same page and cohesive.
Absolutely.
And working very nicely together. Because
Yes.
harmony, like we can all find it if we look hard enough, and we
Yep.
can, and those hard conversations, we can always find the middle area where we can come to the table and listen and respect other people's opinions.
Absolutely. Yep.
But as adults, you know, and professionals, we can always take somebody else's ideas maybe and work them into our own scheme,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then everything flows pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be talking to, I'm so happy about this too, fire prevention officers in our next segment. But what advice or message would you like to share with the community regarding fire safety and prevention for the upcoming year?
So one thing, we are coming into the holiday season now, so I just want to remind people just to be extra vigilant about holiday safety. Make sure when it comes to, and I'm sure the fire prevention guys will talk about this, like inspecting your lights, making sure everything's good. Don't overload any circuits. I know a lot of people like putting so much lights as they can on their houses and that, but just make sure it's done correctly. And going forward into next year, we're going to do a big prevention focus on outdoor burning. So
Okay, good.
we want to make sure that people enjoy their backyard fire pits, but make sure that they're doing it safely and properly. Right?
Exactly.
If we get concerns from neighbors and that about uncontrolled fires or stuff that should not be burnt is burning, we'll be addressing that as well. But just making sure that people have the opportunity to enjoy their backyard fire pit safely.
Lots of work to do, but lots of plans, right?
Absolutely,
And lots
yep.
of positive ideas
Absolutely.
going forward. And we're all about safety.
Yes.
Safety is number one, you know, in our concerns on an everyday scale.
Yep.
So, in our very last question, I want to ask you, what's one fact about the Miramichi Fire Department that you want to share and that people might be interested in hearing about? Something just fun.
One thing about the fire department is people see us. When we come to their emergency, people are at their worst, right? But one thing that people need to be aware is that we are part of your community. We're here to help you at your worst time. And also, we enjoy coming and helping and serving people to make sure that we can mitigate any loss, any damage that's happening to them at any time at all, right? Behind the scenes, we also like to, in our downtime, we like to have fun. Right, and that's what I'm all
It's
about,
important.
is just building camaraderie, having fun, relaxing.
Joking.
Absolutely.
Having a coffee and shooting the
because
breeze.
in the next minute it could change for us that we could be out dealing with something else, right? So
A very emotional job.
it is.
You know, it's like any profession, whether it be nursing or paramedic, it has its really intensely difficult moments. And like you said, you never know from one minute to the next what you're going to be running
Yep.
into.
Yep.
So that's when you have to take advantage of the fun stuff and build
Yep.
good friendships within
Absolutely.
the
Yep.
walls of your fire department.
Absolutely.
Chief Cole, thank you very much for being a wonderful guest.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you're in this position. position, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you
So I'll
very
be on the
much.
lookout for you
All
over the
right,
holidays.
yes.
And to all of our viewers, we've been just so thrilled to have Chief Dennis Cole, Chief of the Miramichi Fire Department, with us for this segment of Have a Chat. Don't go too far. We'll be back for more. Thank you.
Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, for this segment, and I am joined by our fire prevention officers, Corey Shattuck and Darren Hambrook. Welcome to you both.
Thank you, Veronique.
Thank you for having us.
We're so excited to talk all things fire prevention today. So before we get into that, though, there might be a few people out there that don't know you. So Corey, I'm going to get you to tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, yeah, I'm Corey Shattuck. I work with the City of Miramichi Fire Department as a fire prevention officer on a full-time basis. I started the fire service about 16 years ago, and as a volunteer, and then I went away to Fire Academy because I loved it so much, and I worked part-time and full-time and on the trucks, and then I went to days doing fire prevention, which includes inspections, investigations, and public education. And so yeah, it was an interesting curve in my career that I very much enjoy. I have a beautiful family at home. I tend to be biased saying that they're beautiful because they are.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I don't think you're biased at all.
No, I got 3 daughters and a lovely wife. So Elizabeth's 10, Nora's 8, and Ava's 4.
Oh,
And,
goodness.
Yeah, and I got a
They keep you busy.
They do, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
I
my
love
wife
it.
Amy. So yeah, and a big
Perfect.
sheepdog. We got an old English sheepdog, and he's our furry friend, and he's the only male in the house. So yeah, him
have a
and
little
I.
bit of bonding,
I got
right?
a little bit of bonding with him. Yeah. So yeah.
I love
so,
it. We also have an old English sheepdog at home. My dad has, yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny's going to be 10 though, so she's
yeah.
getting up there.
Owen's 8. So yeah,
Okay.
he's getting up there too, and he's a big guy, but he's my buddy.
Awesome, awesome. And Darren, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Darren Hambrook. I'm with the City of Miramichi Fire Department also, same position as Corey Shattuck. We do inspections, investigations. I started my fire career at the age of 16 in 1989, so I'm dating
Couple years ago,
myself.
eh?
Yeah,
Couple
I got
years
about
ago.
34 years in.
Yeah.
I was a volunteer, moved up to captain. I was a volunteer fire chief out in Sunny Corner. And 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to get a job here in fire prevention with the City of Miramichi, which was the best thing I've ever done. So,
Awesome.
yeah, and then my son Danton's 28. He's also a full-time firefighter here with the City of Miramichi. I have a daughter, Danya, 25, and my wife, Nancy, school teacher here in the city. And we took the plunge last March and moved ourselves into the city. And
What a
we're
change,
not
though,
looking
for
back.
you.
Yes, yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
big changes in the last couple of
Yeah,
years.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I always was involved in prevention and education with the volunteer service, but doing it full time every day with Officer Shattuck, it's heartwarming. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's so fulfilling, right? And to get to see what we actually do in the city, right? We make a big difference. We really do.
Well, and that's been kind of the shift, right, over the last few years from, firefighting necessarily to fire prevention as well as part of that education piece, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, being reactive is not, being proactive in trying to prevent fires before they happen, or, that's the name of the game in the fire service, is try to prevent them from happening. And if a fire does happen, is to reduce the impact. So if people can get out safely, or, because I don't think we'll prevent every fire.
Right.
It'll be impossible, but if we can get people out safely because of systems that are in place and whatnot, so yeah.
A lot of our education does come down to early detection. Like you can only, people can still cause fires, like Officer Shattuck says, but if we can teach them about, smoke alarms, CO alarms, early detection, get them out safe, may not save their property, but it'll save their life, right?
Right.
So, and that's what it's about.
Right, yeah,
Fire, life
it's that
safety.
hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Is both sides of the coin, I guess, is the
Yeah.
best way to put it, is that you need both, right?
Yeah.
So that you can get out, get safe. The stuff, you feel that sense of loss, of course, with the stuff, but more important that everybody is safe, right?
Yeah. And I will mention that Darren and I have an important role with fire prevention. We're not the only people. Like the members have bought into it as well, which is great because the firefighters are always more than willing to come out with us to after we're done a building inspection, to get them through to familiarize themselves with buildings and getting out in the community to help us with our pub ed programs, like at schools, and they like to be out there too with us. So it's awesome that it's not just like Darren and I doing it on a Monday to Friday basis. It's actually the fire department doing it 24/7. So it was a big shift in our culture here in Miramichi, and it was a right shift, if you ask me.
You know, when you hear the members say, "Oh, I come back from a call, and we talk to a child, or we talk to someone about their smoke alarm or something." So everybody's involved, the whole department. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So in that vein, let's talk about the top 3 tips you have for fire prevention for us.
Okay, so for holiday or for
We're going to go into
general?
holiday in a minute. We'll start with the regular stuff.
All right, so what we look at is trends of what has happened in the past. So actually, the reasons why we do fire investigations, the primary reason for a fire investigator is to find origin and cause of the fire. And a lot of people automatically assume that it's to find if there was an arson, or the old term arson, or incendiary, but that's not the reason we do it. We do it because we want to know how to prevent them in the future.
Okay.
So we gather our statistics, and then if there's a lot of, Hambrook mentioned just before we came on about the fire prevention week message this year.
Yes. Cooking safety starts with you.
Yeah,
right?
so it was a trend in North America that a lot of fires are happening in the kitchen. So Fire Prevention Week this year was based of safety in the kitchen. So that's why we do fire investigations. We find out what happened and how can we prevent them in the future.
Okay.
So as Miramichi specifically, I would say we do get a lot of kitchen fires.
Yep.
We also get a lot of heater fires because we're the type of climate we're in, and people are using heaters, and sometimes malfunctions of heaters or unsafe practices of placement of heaters and combustibles. And what would the third one?
Well, actually, and they do a trend. Just back to the recording investigation. They do a trend across the province, so they record those, and they're starting to record them nationally when we do investigations. So maybe it might come back to there was a lot of chimney fires.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because of the humidity that year, people had a lot of chimney issues. Right.
Yeah.
So it's something they can put out, promote. Clean your chimney. Right. Those things, but.
So rarely will a cooking fire be my problem because I don't do enough of it at home.
I don't either. My mother-in-law does it next door, and
Perfect.
I make sure her smoke alarms are installed. So,
Perfect.
So you
it's
said
not my problem.
Yeah. So the top 3, before I forget,
Yes.
was I would say kitchen,
Yep.
and heater fires, and probably careless discarding of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Or now we say smoking materials because there's more than cigarettes.
Right.
But it's and that's usually those ones,
Yeah,
all these ones are accidental.
One of the courses we just took said the smoking fires in North America are still very
Really,
high,
eh?
even though there's a lower number of smokers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until I was going through the drive-through of one of our local fast food areas is that mulch is flammable.
yeah,
Yeah.
Never,
it's very
never
dry.
crossed my
Yeah.
never crossed my mind.
Mulch. Yeah.
Peat moss.
Right, of
You know,
course,
peat
yeah,
moss is
of course.
is very combustible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mulch will actually mulch actually, if you keep layering mulch every year while we're talking
dear.
about mulch, people that just add mulch in their flower beds, what happens is that the mulch underneath, if decomposition
Makes heat.
it's called spontaneous combustion because it makes heat and it can't escape as fast as it's going, so it actually catches fire. So if you're putting mulch in flower beds, we ask that you take out all your old mulch
Interesting.
and put a
Yeah.
thin layer.
Okay.
But then be careful if you have cigarette smokers or anybody that discards smoking materials
Yeah.
around your yard, because if you flick it in the
And that's what most people do,
yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
they flick it in the flower bed so it's hidden,
exactly.
right?
So it's
And from the fire investigations, this is one that is really in the news now a lot. I think lithium-ion batteries, because everything we
Right.
have now,
Yeah.
Right.
your cell phone, your iPad, kids with their e-bikes and their hoverboards, they're lithium-ion batteries. I think apartment fires across North America right now, they're the #1 cause of apartment fires in the big cities. New York, Vancouver, Toronto, because people are bringing those things in and charging them
Right.
with quick chargers.
Yep.
And you don't know, they may be damaged inside. So lithium-ion batteries are on the rise for
yeah.
cause of fire. That's why part of the investigation, if you didn't investigate the fire, you'd never know it was that battery.
Right, yeah,
And
absolutely.
we actually had one.
Yep.
Yeah, we had
Interesting.
one, so.
So
See,
yeah.
look, I've already learned.
Yes,
I've already
that's right.
learned. So the holidays are just about here. So what are your best recommendations for holiday season safety around fires? Because I mean, listen, we all have those old lights that we've had for 30 years because mom had them and grandma had them,
they're
and
the
we
best
plugged them
ones.
in,
Yes.
and
Yeah, they are the best
So what are your recommendations around holiday season safety?
Well, we'll look at the top. We'll take 3 that we see often. The first one's candles, because everybody loves a scent in their home.
Yes.
The candles are very, common to start fires. We've seen that in our city quite a bit. We're getting away from candles now with like warmers, heat warmers, like with a light bulb and whatnot, and that's the way that we recommend people go. But candles, because candles, like a window open could move a candle. You don't think, but you cooked in the kitchen, you got a candle on the counter, you open a window to get some, heat or smoke out of the house, and the wind blows later on, it hits a candle. We've seen a lot of accidental candle fires, animals, cats, or even a curtain that blew, into a candle and caught on fire. It's always those things that you're not thinking when you're lighting the candle, but later on you did something, or the cat moved, or you left the room. So we ask that people stay in the rooms where a candle is and blow them out, obviously, when they're not in that room. Or actually just change, like to our house. There's a policy in the Shattuck house, 300 Dawson Street, no candles. Yeah. So we have Scentsy warmers and whatnot.
Right, of course.
So I think Christmas trees too, especially this time of year. So in my house, my wife has 7 Christmas trees up now. I think there'll be an 8th one probably before she goes to bed tonight.
I can't even imagine.
She only uses artificial. So, but there are people still out there, traditionalists and people that like the smell of a real Christmas tree. Be sure to water it, because you're actually bringing a combustible thing into your home, and if it dries out, back to the candles or plug in, or maybe close to a heater, right? It is a fire hazard in your home. So if you're using a real Christmas tree, keep it watered.
So not to put the real Christmas tree beside the fireplace.
No.
Line it with candles and then leave the room.
Not a good
idea. Right? Not a good idea.
Or near a heater.
Or a heater. Yeah. They are beautiful.
Of course.
Just keep them watered.
And we do understand, like people, like Darren said, they get 7 trees. How many are real or
all artificial things?
All artificial.
Yes.
But some people still see it as a tradition to go with their family, and we understand that. It's just that if you're going to do that, we prefer to see the artificial tree from a fire safety standpoint, but we understand people still do it as traditions, but just try to do it in a safe manner.
Keep it dry. And then when you're hooking up those Christmas trees, right? Everybody's like, too far from the plug. So what's that do?
Extension cords. That's our third.
Every time. Every time.
It's the extension
or power
cords.
bar into power bar into extension cord into extension cord, right?
Yeah, we call that daisy chain.
Daisy chain.
Okay.
So power bar or extension cord into an extension cord. And you know what? We need Christmas lights. We have them on our homes and we use extension cords. But what we ask the public to do is to protect themselves and their homes is just unplug them. Like, don't leave them in at all times. Like, shut them off at nighttime, or if you leave the home. I know it's hard, like you like your house lit up, but you want to be in the vicinity if something does start to catch on fire, or smoke sets off the smoke alarm at your home, so you can take proactive
and try
measures.
Try to use a power bar that actually has it's made for 6, let's say, and it actually has a ground fault on it. So if you did have problems with one of your lights, they're drawing a little more power, it'll trip, it'll shut the power down. Because an electrical fire, the best way to put it out is to unplug it. So.
That's a very
sounds
good
terrifying to me.
So
no, that's a good point. Is the overload, and like we see that a lot. Is like when especially we do inspections, you'll see people take the multi-use adapters, and it's just like full, and it's like, okay, that's only one circuit. Like, that's an electrical circuit that's now overloaded. So try to use different outlets that are on different circuits if you're going to use a lot of
took
lights.
2 plugs, and now you put that thing in and make it 6. It's not safe.
So those would be our top 3 Christmas tips.
Now, you talked a little bit earlier about Fire Prevention Week, and I know that we had talked about that before, off air and things like that. That is one of your favorite times of the year.
It's best.
Talk to us about why that's so important and what you get to do during that week.
Oh, well, we shut down.
Yeah.
We said that last week. We were in Office of Fire Marshal meetings in Fredericton, and I think 95% of the inspectors and investigators in the province were all in one room. And we told them, like, we shut it down. Like, our department shuts it down other than emergency calls, of course. But, I mean, that's our favorite time because we go to every school and we see every kid.
We've seen 1,520 kids in the Miramichi area this year.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
And that's the age where kids are learning. So if you instill them, because I remember the fire department came into Nelson Row when I was in school, and I thought that was so cool, but I've always learned. One thing that stuck out in my head, I always say this, is it goes back, like, was unplug your toaster. One of the firemen said that, and I never ever forgot it. Because your K to 5 is when those kids are like sponges. They see safety as an important thing, and we get it from the community because we go out and they're like, "Oh, you were talking to my kid. And they gave us, a lecture when they got home. They checked the smoke alarms." And
it is fun to go in because we usually do K to 2, one group. Then we'll do 3 to 5. So when you get that 3 to 5, we ask them questions, and normally they'll answer the questions from what they learned when they were in K to 2. So you know it's sticking, right? So.
Well, and I mean, my generation, I'm of a generation, stop, drop, and roll.
Oh, yeah.
is deeply embedded
Yeah.
in my brain. I thought it would be a bigger problem than it has been in my life, which is good.
Yeah.
But I remember that. I remember our fire safety demonstrations when I was in elementary school,
Yeah.
and it was, it was in the gym, and everybody would come in, and stop, drop, and roll was the thing.
We still do that.
Yeah.
We still do. We
Really,
get,
eh?
we get 2 volunteers in each school. We still
Yeah.
do the stop, drop, and
Yeah.
roll. Yeah.
Really,
So,
eh?
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
amazing.
neat. Because kids are sponges.
Yeah.
And having them like we do, like your kids are
Oh,
older
yeah.
now, but my kids are young. I know that this is the age where they're learning, so it's awesome.
Yeah, and we have a few bilingual members, and so in the last few years, we started taking in even Carrefour, which is the French school in our
Perfect.
community.
Yeah.
So they get the message too, so yeah.
And even though like we do all the city schools, we do Eel Ground because that's in our coverage area, and we do Napan. Like we go out and see this, so it's pretty neat to get all the kids within our coverage area.
Yeah.
So we know that we're trying to make a difference with their fire prevention education as they get older, and then they get into college and have homes, and
Yeah.
they'll have this. I think it'd just be at the back of their brains that they won't even think of it. It'd just be natural,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in the previous segment with Judy and Chief Cole, he talked about how big the coverage area is
Yeah.
for our fire department here
Yeah.
in Miramichi.
Yeah, I know we talk about sometimes, city of 17,000 or 18,000, but our coverage area is, huge,
Yeah,
right?
so much bigger.
So to get our message outside of those city limits, sometimes
Yeah.
like say with Eel Ground and Napan, to the schools is, it's excellent to be able to do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. I love that you get to actually be with the kids and
Oh, yeah.
and it must fill your soul a bit too,
It does,
right?
yeah.
To get to do that with them.
Well, actually, the firefighters come with us to the schools, and after each day, we go do 2 presentations in the morning. We go out for lunch as a group every day, and it's a camaraderie builder, and it's just awesome to see everybody partake in it.
Yeah.
We had an open house this year. That went extremely well. We pushed in
We
a
love
new
that.
truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got to
yeah.
I got to be here
Yeah.
for that open house
Yeah.
and the push in.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the push in.
Well, yeah.
That's an old part of history. So back in the days of the horse and the wagon, they used to have to push the wagon into the station. So
Yeah, because horses don't naturally back up,
no,
right?
see, right. So they unhook and put the horse push the wagon in.
Yeah.
So over North America, over the fire culture over years, that was kind of a thing. You push your new engine in. It was kind of a christening.
Yeah.
And never done it here that we know of.
Nope.
Right. So it was and we had everybody here. Like the members were here, our volunteers, our career. The city council,
Yeah.
the mayor, everybody was here
The
for
public.
it. The public.
You had hundreds of people
We
here.
figure we had over 400 here
That's
for the
incredible.
day, right?
Yeah.
And the kids got to see that. Like
Yeah.
it was amazing, yeah.
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 Yeah, it felt like a real community event, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to see the new truck, really happy to have the engine, right? Especially, new equipment that you all need. But it was so great that day. It was such a community feel to see the kids running around, to see all of you here, career and volunteer. It really did feel like a great community event.
Yeah, well, and part of our job, it worked out really well. We had a table set up for prevention, right? So and it was after Prevention Week, right? So we actually got a chance to, talk to the kids, talk to parents. And and in the city of Miramichi, we have something that's, so we've been told across the province is above and beyond. We have a smoke alarm program here in the city,
Right.
which I'm glad we're
Yep.
going to get to discuss.
Yeah.
So anybody that doesn't have a smoke alarm, CO alarm, could call us, right? And we'll go out and we'll check your house, check to see what maybe is wrong with the one you have, right?
Yeah.
Or we'll install one free of charge.
So I think that's really key that
Yeah.
most
Well, we
people
got-
don't know,
Yeah.
right?
So we got to talk about that with people
Yeah.
when they were here, and we've had a few phone calls since, right? So yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually for our viewers out there, so if you're in the coverage area, that is a service that you offer, which is great for fire prevention, right?
We'll do it, or the duty crews that are working are more than
Yeah.
willing to go out if we ask them to, like
Yeah.
to partake. Like Darren and I do have a busy schedule with inspections, and if we get we stay busy, but they're more than willing to step
Yeah.
up and go out to people's homes. It's a good time when you're in that home to see something. You'll be like, you
Have
should
you
be
checked your
careful
dryer
with
vent?
it. Yeah, check your dryer vent. That heater looks a little, So it's a good time. It's not that we're going in to do an inspection.
Right.
We're going in to install a smoke alarm, but give us a couple tips.
Yeah.
And you get to educate the people that we don't see in the schools that way, right?
Right, yeah.
So
Well, and it's funny because I just saw, TikTok, right? So social media is always great for a lot of things, but one of the videos that I just saw yesterday was cleaning out a dryer vent.
Yeah.
And there was more animal fur from their dog, right, coming off the clothes and stuff as they were going through the dryer. than lint, and it was fully clogged, which you never think of that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I have 2 dogs of my own at home, so one of them sheds like he's only 5 pounds, and he sheds like he's 60 pounds.
Yeah.
Like but it's incredible that you don't think of that stuff.
Well,
Like
an
I don't.
officer's addict's probably tired of hearing me tell this story. We did an investigation one time with an insurance investigator, and she was super focused on dryers, and it was a dryer fire. And she said what happens is when you don't clean the dryer vent, there's a pressure builds up in your dryer. It lets the lint go in around the drum on the inside. That's where your element is.
Right.
So, your tendency to build up in there. So even when you're cleaning your dryer vent, the odd time you should pop the top and vacuum around the inside and get that out of there.
Okay, never would have thought that.
I've heard people say that when they've taken them apart, they've got huge balls of lint from inside the dryer. Because
Right.
what happened was it wasn't venting properly.
Right.
So it had to go somewhere. So it sneaked out around the seal. And that's where your element is, right? And that's can be a cause of a dryer fire.
Wow.
And that's still a high number in North America. If you look, dryer fires are still a
Yep.
Wow.
High
And
cause of fire.
even though you're changing your lint
Yeah.
trap,
Yeah.
some lint does get behind that and gets through.
Yeah.
So every couple of years, what I do personally, and
Yeah.
we ask people to do, is take your dryer actually off the wall and clean from the interior to the exterior to get that, because a pipe might be coming plugged like outside. Oh no, I clean my vent,
Right.
my lint trap every time.
Yeah.
But if stuff gets in that pipe and it starts to build up in the pipe, you don't know about it, then what Darren's saying
Yeah.
is accurate. It's going to go somewhere because it's the pressure.
Pressure has to go,
Yeah.
yeah. And what we've noticed, and it's a trend because we do it for our inspection. So when we're in an inspection, if we find the foil type dryer vent,
Yeah.
it says right on the back of your dryer, do not use foil type, even though it's very easy to use.
Yeah.
So we recommend flexible aluminum
Yeah.
because you can't actually squeeze it, or solid pipe.
Okay.
And that cures a lot of
Yeah.
the ventilation issues because it doesn't build up and it doesn't, if your dryer got pushed back, it'll squeeze
Yep.
on the foil type. So we
Yeah.
recommend no foil type.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out when I go
Most,
home now.
most manufacturers of dryers now, if you
Yeah.
read them, it literally states not to use foil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're not getting the proper ventilation.
Right,
Yeah, with
okay.
foil,
Wow. Look at we're learning so much
Oh,
today.
yeah.
What are some of the concerning trends though that you're starting to see, like in as you're doing your investigations or even your inspections, or that you're hearing stories out there? What are some of the more concerning trends you're hearing these days?
It would be what we discussed already would be the heaters,
Yep.
Careless disposal of.
Well, especially those infrareds, right?
Yeah.
Like they're
Well,
everywhere.
Well, a
pretty
lot of
much.
people are getting away from wood heat. You do notice
Yeah.
a lot less people with wood furnace or wood stove and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So they're going to these, standalone infrared heaters or whatever. And not all of them are manufactured with the proper safety, right?
Yeah.
If they tip over, they don't shut off,
Right.
those things.
Yeah.
So you do see a lot of those now. People are using them for spatial heat, right?
And they're putting them on extension cords. They draw so much power because
Yeah.
there's an element in there that they're drawing that power, and then it has nothing to burn. Extension cord's not rated for it.
No.
So the extension cord will actually burn, or the outlet on the wall, sometimes it comes black because there might be other things plugged into that outlet as well on that circuit. So it'd be nice if people realize what's plugged in the circuit in that room and limit what they plug into one circuit. But definitely plug them direct and limit what's on that one circuit when you're using those type of heaters.
Okay.
And something
Yeah.
we've noticed too, so we talk to a lot of people about their heaters, their couch up against the heater, the curtains. I say, well, it's summertime, I have it shut off, right? But we try to educate people on normally the old dial, that's a spring, right? And the temperature will make it slide.
Okay. Yeah.
That can fail. We've seen fires where that has failed and the heater came on with the switch shut off.
Unexpectedly. Yeah.
Unexpectedly. So if you're, you had your recyclables up against a baseboard heater or long curtains or something like that, just because it's shut off doesn't mean it, couldn't come on accidentally. So
Right.
those are things I noticed lately. A lot of people say, well, I shut that off. Still
Yeah.
got to be,
Yeah.
still got to be 6 inches from around all of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just about to the new year, right? It's hard to believe that 2023 is
Yeah.
just about over. But what are you both looking forward to next year, as far as fire prevention, the fire department, what's going on here in Miramichi, all that kind of stuff?
I just basically this job's the same. It's very. I know Fire Prevention Week's always in October, but it's getting out and doing the inspections and seeing people and talking with people and even with an inspection. I know we get our authority through the fire marshal's office, so we're basically the two fire marshals from Miramichi. It's not about you have to fix this. In the end, it is an order, but it's about an education component. Most building owners just didn't know.
Unaware.
Unaware.
Our deputy chief uses that word one time when I first started here. So a lot of people are unaware.
Yep.
And he's right. The more people I meet, the more people are unaware
Right.
of
Yeah.
the fire hazards.
Just
right?
don't think of it, right?
Yeah.
And then it's to work with them. It's to build a relationship, work with them, and they know your purpose is just to make sure that their building's safe for the occupants in their building. And I think at the end of the day, when we walk away and the inspection's complete and everything's orders are complied with, people feel safer that their building, they didn't know something yet. It might have cost them a little bit of money to fix it or get it corrected, but in the end, I think building owners are happier with safe buildings too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just before we end this segment together, what's your favorite holiday tradition?
Oh, I have my Christmas mug out now. It came out after Remembrance Day,
Yeah.
and the fire
It's
chief's
here.
been hiding it on me.
Yeah.
So I'm a big holiday cheermeister. I love being with my family and just spending time at home. And we have some traditions at our house and with my family and Amy's family that we enjoy doing. And it's just being together as a family and and celebrating the
Good.
Christmas for the real reason. So
Yeah.
Yep.
And you?
The same thing, family. And I always look forward to that Christmas Eve. Sometime after lunch. Doesn't matter where I worked. I always try to shut things down.
Yeah.
Mass on Christmas Eve, and then just home and sitting with family, and then just that time together. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's not about the 8 Christmas trees in my house. It's about the time together.
Yeah. You know what? So my favorite, absolutely favorite thing, and I still from childhood, and everybody laughs at me when I say this, but I grab the Snoopy and the Red Baron Christmas song, and that is my favorite. It always puts me in the mood, always gets me ready for Christmas, and I crank that up around the house and dance with my dogs and my mom, and that is
that's
one of
fun.
my favorite
Yeah.
Christmas memories. And then Dad and I always on Christmas Eve we started when I was 4 years old. On Christmas Eve, we go shopping for the one gift for me and the one gift for Mom from Dad. And we have been doing it. I'm a little past 4 years old now. We've been doing it for decades, and we still to this day do it. And those are my 2 favorite things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I want to thank you both for spending some time with me today, and lots of great tips and some great recommendations. So I really hope that people, get as much out of this segment as I did. And wishing you both a happy holiday season, Merry Christmas, and all the best for the new year.
Yes, happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Yes, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for having us and getting
Thank
this
you.
message out. Nobody.
Hi, and welcome to Have a Chat. I am your host for this segment, Veronique Arsenault, joined of course by my amazing co-host Judy Loge, and we have another couple of very special guests joining us for this segment, and I think this is probably your favorite.
Oh, I'm in love. I just think I have to take this little guy home.
I know. So we have Lieutenant Pat Brogan and Facility K9 for the City of Miramichi Department, Charlie B.
Oh my.
Isn't he gorgeous?
What a grateful thing for our community to have this beautiful dog with the Miramichi Fire Department.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lieutenant Brogan, tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm a lieutenant with the Miramichi Fire Department. Got hired here in 2018. Before that, I was a deputy sheriff with the province, and grew up in a small community called Chipman. Moved here in 2006 to attend college. And
Okay, that's a good little nutshell.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so tell us about this great guy and how Charlie B got to be here.
So we got Charlie back in 2020, the fall of 2020. Myself
Right in the
and
midst of COVID.
Yes, yeah, right in the middle of it. Basically just as a facility therapy canine. And it's been a wild ride ever since.
How old's Charlie?
Charlie's 4 years old.
Is
He's
he?
a black Labrador Retriever.
Handsome dude.
I know.
The tail wagging.
Well, and something that we learned actually just before we came on air is that when you put his vest on, that means he's working.
Yep, yep. He knows. He knows as soon as we put the vest on, it's time to go to work.
So it's like when you put your uniform on,
Yep.
you know you're going to work
It's the
too.
Very same thing.
Yeah.
He's a love.
So talk to us a bit about your firefighting career and why you said yes to actually being a team with Charlie B.
So my firefighting career started back in 2011. I signed up as a volunteer, fell in love with it, and in 2018 I got the opportunity to do it as a career, and have been in love with it ever since.
There you go.
I decided to take Charlie. I love dogs, and it just one of those things that I can help the community out with, help the brothers in the fire service around the province and here in the city.
So you and Charlie got to attend a very special training session last year in Ohio. So talk to us about that and why it was so important.
So last year we flew to Columbus, Ohio, to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office Therapy Canine School. We were there for a full week, and we come home with 4 or 5 certificates from the American Kennel Society. Just certifying him in various aspects of just being a therapy dog and along those lines.
I think I remember at the time he was only the second dog in Canada
Yep.
to be invited to the
Yep.
training.
The previous year there was a dog from Newfoundland.
Okay.
Very high honor then.
Yes. Yeah.
Special.
So how has having Charlie be here and being part of the team, being part of the fire department, the Miramichi Fire Department, how has that brought some positivity, I guess, to the community, but also to the fire hall?
So I see it most when, and it's sad to say, but when we have a bad call, fatal accident or something like that, I'll bring Charlie around. You can as soon as we walk into the station, you can literally see the guys' faces light up, and he's a distraction from what they just saw and what they just went through. So he's a big help. He might not know it, and the guys might not know it, but I see it, and that's why it makes it special.
Well, and he's got such an amazing personality. I mean, Judy and I
yeah.
both.
Yeah, he does.
As soon as we got here, he came right over to see both of us,
Yep.
and he's such a loving, friendly dog.
His demeanor
he's
is what we all want.
Yeah, exactly. He's a people person, whether it's dogs, kids, and adults.
Yeah.
He loves to be around people.
Do you go to schools though with him? Like, do you take him to community
Yep.
events?
So Fire Prevention Week.
Yeah.
I had him out to a couple schools. Kids loved him.
Of course they did.
Yeah, he was the main attraction besides Sparky.
Right.
And he loves kids, which is a real bonus because some of them do not
Absolutely.
like you say, he's a people person dog.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Does he have any quirks or little things that make him unique?
When I take him home off shift, he's a family pet.
He takes off his vest and he's
Yep.
home with you and your family. That he is your family pet.
Yep.
That's right. Wonderful things coming up in the new year.
We're doing a fundraiser at Christmas time. We've done this will be our 3rd year. Annual Charlie B tree fundraiser.
Oh yes, yeah.
So we raise money throughout the community, and then we spread it out into the community again. So
That's awesome.
With the holidays right around the corner, what's your favorite holiday tradition?
probably just watching the kids open their presents at Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss that. I mean, mine do, but it's like they're men now. But I miss what you're doing with young family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
exciting.
it's great.
Well,
Yeah.
we wanted to thank you and Charlie B for taking the time to spend with us today and wishing you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday season and all the best for the new year.
All right. Merry Christmas.
Bye. And to
Thanks
all the
for having
viewers,
me.
thank you for tuning in to Habitat.